The semifinals in college football are here. Is this the most evenly matched four teams we've had since the playoffs began? We'll discuss that and a whole lot more right now. This is Offside Sports. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Offside Sports. We're live from the Lawfront Hunter Studios in Southern California, presented by Turtlebox Audio. Check out their incredible lineup of portable speakers at turtleboxaudio.com. And, of course, thanks to Turf & Sons for the turf we sit upon. Turf & Sons, San Diego's #1 choice for turf installation. Find them at turfandsons.com. Allison, CJ, Dave, Happy New Year.
New Year.
Here we go into the new year, another year with Offside Sports. Hope you guys all had a great holiday. So our semifinals are here. We got Miami and we've got Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl coming up Thursday in Glendale, Arizona. And Friday we've got Indiana versus Oregon in the Peach Bowl. And Dave, I'll start with you. You were at the Rose Bowl. CJ, you were at the Rose Bowl as well to watch Indiana just poleaxe Alabama.
Yeah.
You said it was going to happen. Out of the teams that are left, though, who has impressed you the most?
Indiana's amazing. I mean, there's so many things to talk about in Indiana. I mean, there's so many storylines there, like movie stuff. I mean, between the quarterback, between the coach, to how many guys aren't five-star players.
Yep.
Indiana's been absolutely amazing. As someone who loves sports like everybody here, I can't think of anything to even compare it to. To take the losingest, basically, college football team in history, and then in 2 years to become a powerhouse is absolutely incredible. And I know some of the other teams that they have big money. Indiana's not a school that has the big money. But last year when we saw Notre Dame, Ohio State, we all said, well, those are the schools that have the most money.
Sure.
So it made sense. So when you look at what Indiana's doing to go undefeated and beat teams this year already, like Oregon and Ohio State and Alabama, and you're going, there's nothing that they can do right now that would surprise you.
Would you say they're playing with house money?
Yes and no. I mean, right now they're the favorite, right? They're #1. And
Sure.
Again, you have the Heisman Trophy winner. And I think for anyone who's an Indiana fan will say it's not completed unless you win the national championship.
That's true. CJ, what about the four that are left? You were at the game. You saw Indiana. Is Indiana the most impressive to you or somebody else?
I want to say Indiana's the most impressive, but I think about what we've thought about them all year,
Yeah.
and I've just been impressed, all year long. And so going into these playoffs, watching a team like Ole Miss, where a month ago, for whatever reason, I said, watch out for Tulane against Ole Miss because they're about to miss out on Kiffin.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking back, like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, this team is legit, and Trinidad Chambliss wasn't their starting quarterback to begin the year. Their starting quarterback got hurt, and This guy took over, and look at him now. I mean, I love Fernando Mendoza, and I think that they're going to probably go on and win the national championship, but Trinidad Chambliss really has a chance to be a good NFL quarterback as well.
Miami, Allison, you got Miami, Ole Miss, you've got Indiana, Oregon. Of those four, is there one that you've kind of said, okay, that's the one I'm not going to bet against?
Yeah, Indiana. I think when you look at Kurt Cignetti and what he's done with a team that has not very many 5 stars, but 0 5 stars.
Yep.
And, there's a lot of, you can put a lot of stock in 5-star, 4-star, the whole star ranking program or not. But regardless, he has none. 3 stars, transfers, unrecruited players. I think it all comes down in this season to a fantastic coach who is really, really big on fundamentals and teaching that to his players and teaching them how to implement that all together and putting together a powerhouse team. I mean, they aren't just barely winning or winning on a fluke. They're dominating.
They are dominating. And another feather in Cignetti's cap is the fact that, when they started having success, I'm sure there were guys that were thinking, well, okay, we're playing well now, but are we going to play any better? And to keep them all in there for the most part and believing in the program is, it's coach of the year, obviously, type stuff. And I think he's a walk away. for that award. I've never been a Miami fan, but I'm a Mario Cristobal fan, and I love the way he runs that program. And he's got his finger on the pulse of everything. And Miami is that one team where you look at them and they're starting to, they're starting to get the U swagger back, and not in the days where they're brawling with everybody on the field and stuff, but because like I said, Cristobal has he's got his foot on the throat of all those players. They know what they can do and what they can't do. He impresses me, and Miami is that one team that, again, I'm not a Miami fan. I'd love to see Indiana win it all, but Hurricanes are good. We've got some of the coaches talking about their upcoming semifinal games. Here is Mario Cristobal, and he talks about taking on an Ole Miss team that, just a couple weeks ago lost Lane Kiffin, as CJ said.
I think, the fact that they have their play callers in place, which is, arguably the most important part. I don't think there's any effect on what they do schematically. And I think that anything that, event like what they went through, I think things like that always galvanize people. So, again, just really impressed with them. It's certainly the best team that we have faced, that we will face, I should say, this year, and looking forward to that opportunity.
And I love the fact that he said they will be the best team that we face this year. That's a shot at Notre Dame, and it's a shot at Ohio State, CJ.
Yeah, and it's funny you say, how they might not be brawling on the field, but you know what? Those guys that were brawling on the field back in the day, Michael Irvin and Ray Lewis, those guys are on the sidelines. They're bringing the juice.
They are bringing the juice back.
I might have just said that maybe Ole Miss was the team that I've been most impressed with, but when it comes to this Ole Miss-Miami game, Miami's just way too complete of a team. I think for Ole Miss, they're not really playing both sides of the ball, and I think Miami probably takes them in that one.
Ole Miss is, I think, maybe when you look for an underdog, like who's the team you're rooting for if it's not a team that you follow.
Right.
Ole Miss kind of falls into that, right? I mean, they lose their head coach. Not only that, they're going to lose their coaching staff. And Lane Kiffin can still dictate how much time he lets his coaches coach this Ole Miss team. It's frustrating. It's embarrassing for the NCAA. I feel bad for the Ole Miss players at the same time. The fact that Lane Kiffin got a $500,000 bonus from Ole Miss's last win that he had nothing to do with. He was at an LSU girls basketball game at the time. And the whole thing's embarrassing for the NCAA, but I do feel bad for the Ole Miss guys. And again, those guys are going back and forth from Mississippi to LSU, recruiting, coaching.
Yep.
You can't keep that schedule up. And Lane Kiffin's getting in the way again of the guys that were supposed to be loyal to him and he was supposed to be loyal to. The calendar's all messed up. It's completely a mistake that a team has a chance to win the national championship, yet the coach that quit on him is the one that dictates what Ole Miss can do to get rid of him.
Here's Rebels head coach Pete Golding talking about facing that Hurricane defense.
The energy, effort, and toughness, snap in and snap out. I think they've done a really good job. And so, we'll have our issues with that up front. We're going to have to know where some of those guys are and going to have to take advantage of some matchups in the back end, when they present that opportunity. But probably as talented as a group that we've seen that play really physical.
Quickly, Christy, let's hear from Indiana head coach Curt Cignetti talking about taking on the Oregon Ducks.
Second time around, we're both going to watch the tape of the first game, see what we did well, see what we didn't do well. And, maybe some wrinkles. Both teams will have some wrinkles, obviously, and both teams have sort of morphed since that game because it was a while back. You put the best plan together you can, but at the end of the day, it's which team executes the best plan play out.
He could be helping you pick out lumber at Home Depot. I swear to God, that's what Curt Cignetti looks like.
He never changes.
Does not change. He hasn't changed from day one. Dave, quickly, who do you got in your national championship game? Who wins?
Indiana and Miami, and I have Indiana winning the whole thing.
Okay, CJ.
I already told you that I'll have Miami. I'll go with Indiana as well.
Yes.
I really like Oregon.
We talked you into it.
It's so hard to beat the same team twice in 1 year.
And that's going to be that's a big hill for Indiana to climb. Allison, what about you? Who's in your national championship?
Same, Indiana, Miami, and I have the Hoosiers winning it all.
And I wrote it down. I've got Miami and Indiana, so we have consensus across the board. Miami is so friggin' good, and they are so good on defense. And if you just watch them play, they fly from sideline to sideline. And it takes you back to the Ray Lewis defense and the Warren Sapp defense and the Russell Marylands of the world, and the Jerome Browns and how ferocious they are. I just think this year Indiana is destiny's darling. And I think Cignetti is a guy that's absolutely going to have them prepared to play. All right, all 4 coaches left in the playoffs have one thing in common, and that's former head coach Nick Saban. You'll hear about the difference he's made in Curt Cignetti's coaching career, and also what Saban thinks needs to change in college football. Next, as Offside Sports rolls on right after this.